What is going on, everybody, man? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Expert Mentors Live. And I'm always excited to jump into any conversation that I can with the gentleman that's back on this this series of expert mentors that we've been running, Knolly for quite a few years now, running through this 4+ years with these with this series and these conversations. And, really the intent has been around pulling the best of the best out of the Honey Badger Nation. And, there's not many better agents and even more importantly, better human beings that are in the Honey Badger Nation. And, really appreciate you making the time to jump back in with us. And for all of you guys, maybe first time tuning in to Expert Mentors, go back and watch just the previous episodes. There's so much gold. We're pulling from people that are actually doing things either in their actual business or coaching and mentoring and teaching and getting real results from that. But Knolly's been on with us a couple times. Knolly, you were
we're gonna have some more fun today, bro.
We're gonna have some great fun.
Oh yeah.
So I had, I love to tell this story of our conversations with expert mentors. I had you on right before March of 20. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about the niches, where to go. Yeah. And then as soon as things opened back up, I was like, hey, we got to get Knolly back on and see what's changed. And two incredible, great, just action-packed things that you can just pull and apply immediately into your business conversations. And I know today's going to be no different.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we're going to have actionable information. And then, a lot of it has to do with mindset, John. You know this already, bro. Yeah. I teach a lot of the same stuff you teach, and some of the stuff that I've heard you teach, I clean it up and reteach it. I say, this is hot out the kitchen. I got to use this one. But I just had a leadership meeting, man. I'm actually in an office with one of my independent broker that joined us here at EXP about 4 years ago, and he's doing really, really well. And it really represented the future, man. Like, I'm sitting at a table, John. You know this. I'm sitting at a table with a handful of people, maybe like 8 people, and that's the same as sitting in front of 102 agents, because those 8 people have 102 agents in their group. And one of the big things that they were telling me today was that the agents that they're basically in overwhelm, and they're not making decisions. They're not taking action in this market that they've been handed. This is a market. This market is a gift, man. It is a gift. This is the cleanup market. This is the market that comes and cleans up everything. Now, your cheese has been moved. There's no doubt about it. But what they described to me, John, was what I call apathy. A lot of agents are in apathy right now. They're not really willing to do the things that need to be done to stay not only in the game, but top of game. Okay. Because when the market's good, you can make a lot of money. But when the market gets bad or not as good as what people would want it to be, you could actually make 2 or 3 times as much. But you have to play your cards right. So we're going to have a lot of fun today. It's going to be good.
I love it. And you said a couple things in there, and the one word that always, it's kind of the dog whistle for me is leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything for us, realizing no matter what stage or what season of your career that you're in a leadership role. Even if you're on a team in an organization, you're in a leadership role. And there's the, first and foremost, my belief is that you've got to be able to lead and coach yourself first before you can lead and coach anybody else. And
that's absolutely right.
And you nailed mindset, you nailed, different perspective, you nailed overwhelm. And I think it's kind of alluding into, what I feel a lot of human beings in general, specifically here in the real estate world are really, the challenge of confidence. And
absolutely. And this is when you think about this, John, this is when a coach really, really comes in handy, man, because a coach will help you navigate. A lot of people don't want to have coaches, and even people, those of us in leadership, Many of us don't want to have coaches. I don't want to have a coach, but I've had a coach since I was 8 months in the business. I've been in the business 20 years. And I haven't not had a coach except my first 8 miserable months in the business, which was very overwhelming for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody holding me accountable. See, the word accountability means the ability to give an account. That's all the word means. A lot of people are scared of it, John. Why? Because they're afraid of their own greatness. Okay. They're afraid of their own greatness. And because all a coach does is hold you accountable to what you say you want. Right. So your accountability is not to a coach. It's not to John Kitchens. It's to yourself. We're the mirror for you. And I got to tell you, man, in this market, people were able to get away with it before, and sort of like, like the order takers. You just, hey, it's like one of the leaders in our meeting here today was saying, like when the salmon run happens, anybody can get out there with a net and catch salmon. But right now, you got to go fishing. Oh, where's your skills? Come on, let's see what you got. So it takes a lot more to come back with that catch. But guess what? There's a lot less fishermen. Can I say fishermen? Is that politically correct? Yes. Fisher people. There's a lot less fisher people out there now. And not that many. So you actually can catch a bountiful crop. Okay. But in this game, you got to understand what game you're in. Yeah. And the real estate game is a listing game, bro. It's listings. You're in the listing game if you're in real estate. So anyway, we've talked about overwhelm. We've talked about, a fear, lack of confidence. And I'm with you 100%, right? To me, it's leadership and listings. It's like that, right? And so, but we see so many agents that want to just gravitate to the buy side. And what's the resistance to stay focused, 100% focused on the listing side? It's just fear, man. The only and agents come up with a lot of colorful ways to describe fear. They're very colorful, actually, because I did it myself. Somebody asked me, what was the one mistake you made in your real estate career? And honestly, man, I could not think of a single mistake. And she was like, dude, are you like the messiah of real estate? I was like, no. It's just that I've always had a coach. And so when you have every single week the accountability, you're actually living your life by design, not by default. See, when you live by default, that's when mistakes creep up. When somebody is holding you accountable every single week, it's really hard to get off track because there's a weekly calibration. It's not like I'm going in for a tune-up every 6 months. I mean, this is weekly, and I know what my coach is going to be expecting on the next call. Okay. And the truth is, most people will be more accountable to someone else. Like if you work at a job for someone else, you will do a better job for that person than you would do for yourself and your own family. That's weird. Okay. But that's psychology.
It's really weird, Knolly, that you say that. I heard that same thing from David Goggins on kind of the endurance side of things. And he talks about it with going through Hell Week and going through everything. It's like when you stop thinking about yourself and you put your attention and your energy on somebody else, your pain tends to go away.
Absolutely.
So I've always remembered that. So like even the endurance stuff that I do, I look forward to getting that pacer out there with me because it takes my mind off of my pain, and I'm concerned and I'm worried for them.
Absolutely.
And so I love that when either in a team environment or in, to that coaching dynamic, that coaching relationship. And when you're, trying to be held accountable and worrying about that, it takes that, maybe it even helps remove some of the fear that tends to hold us back.
Yeah. And even as you came into the initial question, which was, why do people gravitate toward the buy side? My first deal in real estate was a listing. Okay. And by the way, it was 100% in Spanish, which is not my preferred language. Okay. It was, I botched it up pretty well, but I walked away with the deal. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I knew going into the game that listings was the game because I studied the game. Okay. And I knew it wasn't buyers. And so even though I don't have a natural aptitude for listings because of my profile, I'm an SC. I'm high on the SC scale. That is not a listing specialist, by the way.
Right.
But I just had to figure out, how can I do this business with my current handicap and succeed? Because I know that everybody says listings is the game, and that's what I have to focus on. But when I look back, and what mistakes did I make? The biggest mistake I made looking back was that I did not get into luxury sooner. Okay? I did not get into luxury sooner, because once I started getting into the higher priced homes, I realized that, wait a minute, instead of selling homes for 250, I could be selling them for 3 million. My paycheck is 10 times as much. The people are super cool. Because I always was like afraid of the kind of people I'd have to deal with, but they're like super cool people.
Way cool.
And they pay me like an enormous amount of money. And they're actually easier to work with than these lower price people. And so that was a big mistake I made, was not getting into luxury, but it was only because of fear. And the reason why people stay with buyers is because they feel like it's easier, or they're not as scrutinized. See, when you get into listings, your game has to be tight. I mean, you got to have your presentation. You might be going up against 2 or 3 other agents. You have to know what the client's expectations are. There's just a lot more on you, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to have high expectations on me, but most people are afraid of their greatness. That's the truth.
Yeah, I love that. And so, I'm the belief, you don't commit and figure it out. You figure out what it is you want, reverse engineering. Is that something I'm willing to commit to? So if you've got somebody, listening in, and they're like, hey, okay, Knolly, I'm hearing you. Okay. I know I've got to make that shift in order to be sustainable, longevity, to have a real career here in real estate. What do I need to know so I can unpack, so I know I can fully commit to that? What is that I've got to know?
Yeah, the first thing you have to know is who you are. Okay, this is very important. I actually wrote a book, man, recently. It's not out yet, but it picked up by McGraw-Hill. You and I haven't had a chance to even chat about this, but
no, I saw it coming. So I was
yeah, man,
it's
called 3 Hours a Day. And the guy that what I discovered, I did a lot of research around this, and as an entrepreneur for 40 years, I started selling. The first stuff I sold was I was 12 years old, door to door, newspapers, candy, whatever I could sell to make money. And now here's 40 years later, I'm 53 now, and I'm still an entrepreneur. And I haven't had a W-2 in 30 years, for working for someone else. So I've had to figure out how to have success. And at first I thought that if I worked 12, 16, 18 hours a day, that would ensure my success, because I'd just be the hardest working person out there. But what I realized was that all I was doing was snapping back into the old employee paradigm of trading time for dollars. The more you work, the more you make. That's really not how the world works. That's not how when you talk about the 1% or the 0.5% or the top, 10% of 1%, those that I used to talk about. I mean, one time I used to talk about the 1% all the time. Oh, those 1%ers, they got all the money. Then when I started looking at my own income, I said, I'm a 1%er. I've been a 1%er for years, and I'm talking about them. But I, years ago, I stopped doing that, because the reality is, it was just me being afraid of my greatness. And I started realizing, John, that there's only 2 big picture priorities that we do. And there's only 2 problems that we have in real estate game anyway, but there's 2 things that you do during a normal day that actually move the needle to success in your business. And only 2. When I was big in the listing game, I had a 46-step checklist of all the different things that I would do on a listing from the time I generated the lead. Closing was step number 40. And then there was 6 things we did after closing. And really, there was only 2 things that generated a paycheck for me, okay, of that 46. And I learned early on that if I would focus only on those handful of things, those few things, I could move the needle, actually do a lot more production and work a lot less. Okay, a lot less. And so that's what I started doing. So that's the new book, 3 Hours a Day. And I'm actually teaching entrepreneurs how to actually work a lot less and earn a lot more. And it starts with, you say, what is that one thing you can do? It's a 7-step process in the book, but the first step is to hone your superpower. is to know who you are and be you 100%. See, this is a big, this is where I start with all entrepreneurs, by the way, because we just did a 4-day boot camp and there was not a single entrepreneur in that boot camp, which is quite interesting, that could tell me who they really are. And it's interesting, John, because like when I grew up in South Central LA. That's where we moved when I was 10 years old. Then we moved to the outskirts of LA, but it was still like I grew up around thugs, gangsters and stuff. And if you had a troop suit or a Lotto suit or a Gucci suit, I wanted a Gucci suit. If you were wearing a Jerry curl, I wanted a Jerry curl. If you had your hat turned that way, if you had your pants sagging, that's how I'm wearing mine. And all we were doing was copying each other. Like there was no originality. And when I turned about 19, I started saying, well, who am I? I didn't know, because peer pressure had gotten to me to the point where I was just a commodity. I was just like everybody else. I didn't know who I was. And here's the interesting thing, John. Most people live their entire life never figuring out who they are. And what I teach is, you got to find out who you are. Later on, I was like, man, I'm kind of a nerd. I like wearing a cowboy hat, things that nobody would have, you couldn't get away with doing this stuff in the hood, right? but nobody was doing it. But I never honed my uniqueness, my individuality. And most people haven't. And so they run around doing business like everybody else, doing real estate like everybody else, and looking like everybody and sounding like and everything the same. And when you hone your superpower, what you do is you figure out who you are. You take all the appropriate tests, the genius test, the DISC test, the strengths finder, the passion test, all those tests. And then you start working on like, who am I? What do I like? What's unique about me? What's my superpower? And then you wrap your business around who you are, your uniqueness. Then business becomes fun again. It becomes fun and easy. Back in the day, man, there used to be this is before your time, John, but when I grew up, it was what was that group? It was the Justice League. You got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and a bunch of other people, Aquaman, and all these Wonder Twins, and all these people, and they came together to fight crime. Okay, now Superman was a badass by himself, but you talking about these other cats, man, forget it, you're done. Now think about this: if you're the Incredible Hulk, you just know that's who you are. You're not trying to be Ant-Man, like, oh man, I'm gonna make myself tiny and go through. No, if we want to have a stealth mission, we're gonna call Ant-Man, or the guy that can make himself real small, forget his name. But because am I gonna call the Incredible Hulk if I want something done stealthily? No. All he knows how to do is smash stuff. If I want something smashed, I call him. And so you have to understand what your superpower is, who you are. Don't fight against it, and just be you. Bring who you are to the real estate table, to the game, and then that's where it really all starts.
Right.
And
let's start with that. It's it's maybe just a high level of awareness around this, but I had Tina on last week, and we were talking leadership, talking hiring, but she said the exact same thing. You've got to, like she said, take every dang assessment, and there's another assessment. Let me take that. And being
a lot of people don't like them.
Being a part of the strategic coach program, going into my 3rd year, that's the very first thing that Dan Sullivan and all of the coaches there, they push, right? It's unique ability is what he calls it.
Absolutely. Super critical.
So it is super critical.
You build your business on top of that.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. And see what happens though, John, is a lot of people that come to you or me and they're coming for coaching, they've never done that. That's the reason why when like Bronnie Ware, she wrote the book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Okay. And she worked with people in their last 12 weeks of life. And there was 5 regrets. The number 1 regret was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life that others expected of me. That's the number 1 regret of people on their deathbed. Okay. And this is, by the way, we know that it's more than 70% of Americans. Okay. In other countries, I'm not sure, but Gallup did a poll of 150,000 Americans, and 70% of them said they either hate or dislike their job. You can't hate or dislike like you're super, like if you have a superpower and you're doing what you're uniquely wired to do, you can't hate that. It's impossible. You know,
it gets
so
into it gets into the components of emotional intelligence, right? You know, that
absolutely,
self-awareness of who
absolutely,
you really are.
that's very critical.
But it ties into that other component of it, the other one of the core tenets of emotional intelligence, which is motivation. And it finds, you know, we always, you know, understand, because people feel like they're looking for motivation, but motivation's from within. And so through
Absolutely,
self-awareness, you find that
absolutely,
internal motivation
absolutely,
and what you're the best in the world at. I love that.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
Knolly, you know, going through understanding that, how does that apply to, you know, we know the greatest lever in real estate here is on the listing side, right? From a production
Absolutely.
standpoint.
Yeah.
So how do you take that, right? You're a CS or a SC. I'm the same. I think that's just kind of how we're wired from a coaching.
Yeah.
How do you apply that in your superpower to the listing side?
Yeah. So what I understood right away was that I could not approach a listing the same way some of my dynamic agents that work with me now, like I got a guy here, Patrick Kelly. I mean, these guys just walk into the listing, man. They got their head high, they look around. I mean, they just take charge, and they're just basically like, and people are asking them questions. They don't really care to give full answers. They're like, look, don't worry about it. I got you covered. Just sign here. I'm exaggerating, but you understand what I'm saying? Like, you know, you and I would look at it like that's pretty much what they do. Whereas me and you, man, I'm coming in with man, dude, you got to, I'm bringing a seminar up in here. I'm about to educate you on why you should or shouldn't sell your house, whatever's best for you, and why I'm the best choice for that decision. Now, let's go. Boom. And then I got my whiteboard. I had to learn, John, to stop bringing my computer. Nobody wanted to watch a slide deck. Like, man, what are you doing, bro? Yeah. So I had to learn not to do that. But the reality is I had to bring my uniqueness because I'm an educator. I'm a trainer. I basically I like to explain things and help you fully understand. So that's my presentation style. And so I just brought that to me. And I just knew that when I came to the listing, it was not really a dog and pony show, but it was showtime, you know, and I had all my handouts. I had my, just like when I do a public speaking event, you know, so that was my unique way of doing it. But I've watched other people do it that are, in my opinion, far superior to me in their ability to just get shit done. Yeah. They get in, it's like, man, you were in there for 20 minutes. He was like, yeah, boy, I'm having a beer right now too. And I'm there for like, you know, I get the job, I still get the job done. You know, I took 153 listings my last year in active production. And I still produce some now, but I got the same result. It just took me longer, you know, because I had to know, man, that they really understood what they were doing.
Right.
And these don't really have that problem, but it's fine. There's really not a right way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
You bring that, but you also have to have that level of awareness when you go in and you're not getting the result, right? You've got to be able to.
Oh, you got to switch it up.
And you know, I always think back, right? You know, Jay's a high D C personality, right, on the disc profile.
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah.
So he could. You know,
I want it done right, and I want it done now.
Yeah, so he has to be a little careful, and you know, we had a great presentation, great process, and I remember him, you know, coming in. My office was right when you walk in the door, and so when he would come back in, he would always stick his head in, and you know, hey, how'd it go? He goes, man. He goes, I crushed it. And then we were competing with our number one competitor, and he's like, man, we're going to slam dunk. It was great listing. And he kind of reflected on it a little bit. And he said, the only way I won't get that is, he goes, I don't know if I connected with them well enough.
Yeah.
And he didn't get it. And he asked, said, hey, you know, how come? And then they said, well, we just liked Barry a little bit better.
Sure. Absolutely.
And so the lesson was like, and from that point on, he never got into what we're going to do to help them accomplish their goals until he knew he had rapport.
Yeah, that's very important.
That's just the lesson that he had learned through.
I learned that the hard way too, because because later I graduated to where I really just wanted to know what did they want to know, because I realized that half the stuff that I was presenting was they had no interest in, and it was just overwhelming for them to listen to all these stats. And to me, it was cool. Data, stats, and information, the more, the better. But for them, it was like, this dude, but I've always been really good at connecting with people, mirroring and matching and sales. And it's all psychology, 100%. And when you understand mindset, you walk in and you connect with people at a spiritual level, it really is freaky. Like a lot of people, it's kind of freaky, but when you're able to do that, and plus, man, there's something about me that I'm because I'm high on the SC scale, maybe it's that I'm very unassuming. Like I'm non-threatening. Like when I come in, I'm almost ignored. Like I don't know quite how to say it, but like I come in and nobody's like afraid of me. Like they're just like, oh, that's Knolly. Like it's just, I'm like, yeah, but give me a little something. They're like, nah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But it works for me. It works for me. Does that make sense?
It's important, but it's important, right, for you to have, who you are, and you love the data, you love it. It's important to have because, even with that D type personality, you might be having that, consultation conversation with, hey, do you want to? They're like, no, man. Hey,
I trust you, bro.
I know you know what you're talking about. You got it. But it's important, right, that you embrace.
Absolutely. For me, it is. Yeah, because that's me. But it's also important, I think, that the high D that doesn't have any, because there's DIs that don't have any of that they might have a business partner that has that side of the business. They say, oh, you know what? My business partner handles all that. My job is to really get you from here to sold. And I'm really good at that. And here's what I'm going to do to get your home sold. And then they move into, because really at the end of the day, objections are just opportunities, right? That's all they are. And when someone is throwing out objections or they're asking questions, all they want to do, it's really all they're doing, John, is they're saying, can I trust you? Are you going to do a good job with me? And are you going to do what you promised? That's it. Yeah. And you might be like, if I get somebody that's very highly analytical, I didn't used to do this, but now I would do it. Like when I sit down with them, I say, you know what, John, you have a lot of questions right now. And you're really, it seems to me like your number one question is, man, this guy, Knolly, I wonder if I can even trust him. Is he really going to get the job done? Is he, a lot of people have told me they're going to do it. I've been, maybe you've been lied to in the past, but is Knolly Williams really going to get this job done? And is he going to give me the best deal possible? And I'm here to tell you, John, I absolutely am. You can trust me. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients, over 1,200 clients have trusted me to this point. I don't let people down, and I'm going to do a great job for you.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and make the right decision. And sometimes you just connect with them that way. So you have to know how to switch it up.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that comes with, that comes with the reps, right? That comes with,
absolutely.
That comes down in the basement,
Yeah.
Beating the, a little bit of a Rocky scene, right? You're in the deep freeze, putting the reps in on that.
But that's a great question. So, a great comment, because people say, well, I don't have the experience you have. And that's a cop-out.
Yeah.
Okay. What can you do if you don't have the experience that John Kitchens has, Knolly Williams has? What can you do that would not be a substitute, but will kind of help you, to a very high degree? Okay. You can train, you can prep, you can put in the work, right? Yeah. Because if you don't have the experience, you can still endeavor to know more about your particular field of real estate than anybody else. Okay. And they say, well, have you done that before? No, but I know how. Let me show you how I'm going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to, don't use the excuse of that you haven't put in, because that's how you get to the reps.
Right. It is. And, go back to, what you said about the salmon and fish, those excuses are like hooks, and it's just, get hooked. And that's a reason why you can't move forward. So, absolutely. Not allowing that to get in your way. So Knolly, okay, I'm understanding who I am. I understand it's all about the listings. I understand that I got to develop the capabilities and the skill sets. to be able to, kind of what's the process of, conversation to connecting, building rapport, to understanding their goals, their objectives, our plan, our process to help them, get from, A to Z. And so great. Okay. Now I'm starting to feel like I can commit to this. Where am I getting these opportunities?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a great question. Yeah. So one of the things that I know you and I both have our clients do from a coaching standpoint is look at lead sources that you've had in the past. Now, if you're brand new to the business, this won't apply to you. But if you've been doing business, a lot of people that are just really good and naturally inclined to do business, they don't track their leads, so they don't really know where all their sources are coming from. I did, and even though I'm a high SC, I was just getting leads from everywhere. I mean, I was doing 10, 12, 15 listings a month. And I did that for years. One week I took 21 listings. I did, in my first 74 days in the business, I took over 20 listings, 20 some listings. So the point is, when I tracked where my listings were coming from, there was like 27 different sources. And I wrote a book about it that's free, called Triple My Listings. It's, you pay the shipping, we send you the book, but I'm going to break it down. All those 27 tactics break down to just 3 buckets. By the way, you don't have to utilize 27 tactics. You only need to implement like 3 or 4 and you'll be good, but I put enough in there for every personality. Because if one personality profile is not going to like this style, whereas another one will. And I believe that you should lead generate according to your personality profile. So the 3 buckets are your sphere of influence. Okay, that's the biggest bucket according to National Association of Realtors. 7 out of 10 sellers chose an agent based on somebody that was referred to them, church family member, friend, whatever. Somebody within the SOI, and you may not personally know them, but your SOI extends beyond people okay? Like John Kitchens has a spirit. Your influence is on more than just the people you've personally met, because now you're on social media, people are watching you, they follow your podcast, they follow your competitions and stuff. And so you may not have personally met them, but you're still influencing those people. And so your SOI is your number 1 group. Then it's your farm, your geographic farm. And farming doesn't cost a dime. I teach tons of YouTube videos where I teach how to farm for free. Doesn't cost you anything. And then your niche, your unique specificity. I spent years doing, at first, when I first got started, it was expireds. And I would do old expireds. I wouldn't do fresh expireds. Because I was just, I'm an introvert. I didn't want people hanging up on me and yelling at me. So I would
get that confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, what a lot of people don't realize, John, and I'm doing a training on this next month, in April, where I'm going to be teaching how to do. It's going to be like 90 minutes, 2-hour training for free. My favorite 4-letter word, by the way. And basically, what I would do is, so according to RedX and other sources, 28% of people that go expired will relist within 30 days, and typically with the same agent, sometimes with a different agent. There's another 30%, full 30%, that won't even list again till after 90 days. So what I would do, John, is I would just only focus on those 30%. So I would do postcards, letters. I mean, they would hear from me. I think it was like an 11 touch or 12 touch. I mean, I would bombard them, and people like, that's expensive. Well, to send somebody like, to make phone calls and send like 6 pieces of mail, I had it down to how much it cost per potential. But really, I mean, the kind of business I was doing, I was doing 12, 15 deals a month that way.
Right.
Then when the market went south, I got into short sales, because that was the market of the moment. See, the markets will always be there. It's just your cheese has moved. You just go find it again. Then after that, I got into probate and divorce, started doing a lot of that. And that became pretty easy for me, because it was technical. There was a lot of, with probate, there's a lot of legalese and legal stuff that has to happen. And I became very good at it. Same thing with short sales when those were around. So your niches will change over time, but you want to look at your niche as a division of your company. It's just a department. So if you have those three buckets, your sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche, all three turned on, like all faucets are fully turned on, and you're generating leads from all those buckets, that's what's going to basically generate lots and lots of incoming and of course outgoing listing leads for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Al, before Al sold the brokerage there in Cleveland, he found that niche, and their niche was downsize.
Yeah, absolutely.
They worked with a lot of downsized, clientele.
I love it.
And even getting into that goes like what you said, even getting into the higher price point from a downsize.
Absolutely.
They ran ads, he wasn't the face. He had one of his agents who was a little bit older gentleman so he could relate a little bit, but they ran all of their stuff. And I mean, it was branded downsizecle.com. Right. And so everything was there. It was branded, but just to your point, I just wanted to share that story because it's to your point that it's that specific niche, and all of their marketing, their conversation, everything joins the conversation of that type of clientele that's there. And that's kind of our marketing. And so it goes back even to your expireds, like, what are they thinking their day 90, right? So somewhere in there, when you start that campaign to them, how does your message, match kind of what's going on in their head? But
and they're basically, when you think about, and it's all psychology. So when you think, and even the way I craft on my webinar next month, I'm going to be sharing, I'm basically going to be teaching exactly what to say to them, where their mindset is, because they're basically disillusioned. They're like in a state of, they're disappointed and disillusioned, and so that market is going to start coming back. So the reality is, expires was not a good market to work the last 2 or 3 years. Okay. But now that market is going to start coming back, and you're going to start seeing more opportunities there, and even people trying to for sale by owner. I think that actually I have a list of 8 markets, man, that I wrote down.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you've been, fortunate enough to ride through so many different markets, just as we have as well. So there's always an opportunity. You just got to see where it's at. And so where are you seeing these opportunities? What are they going to be?
I think, first of all, I think that you want to start thinking in terms of market proofing your business. Okay. You really want to start thinking that.
I love that.
And because that way you don't always have to be, bobbing and weaving with the market shift. You want to market proof yourself. And the way you do that is, number one, you focus on listings. Okay. Because when you're a lister, you don't even really, all that happens, man, is that the herd thins out. Okay. Now there's a lot less, fisher people out there, trying to find these.
I get that stream all to yourself.
Yeah, you might have it all, but not only there's less fish, but there's only you. You just get as many. How many can you eat? Just go get what you want. So that's very important, is to focus on listings, because most agents don't. And if you get really good at that, that's a skill. There will always be people that want to sell in any market. If you don't believe me, just go back and look in your MLS, wherever you're, tuning in from, and look within the last 30 days and look at how many homes actually sold within your MLS, and then tell me that nobody's selling houses. I guarantee you. I mean, I looked in Austin, it was like almost 3,000 houses sold. Okay, so nobody's selling houses anymore? No, I think there are people still selling. So if almost 3,000 closings happened, that's almost 6,000 transactions.
Right.
Okay, and all I want is like 5 or 6 transactions, no problem. So so that's number one. And then when you start looking at things like divorce, okay, divorce is, I mean, I gotta say, man, it's leaning closer to 60% now of all marriages are going to end in divorce. And so 6 out of 10, that means that there's going to be a lot of properties that have to be liquidated as a result. Probate, okay. I hate to say it, man, but people keep dying, bro. You know, probate is one of those businesses that is really good for an SC, because we don't have to deal with people that are alive. You know what I'm saying? Like when you one of the people would tell me all the time when I was in the music business, man, if I could just do the business without having to deal with the artist. Yeah. Well, if I could just do real estate without having to deal with clients. Yeah.
Right.
Well, guess what? Now you're just dealing with their grandkids. And what do they want? The money.
They want the money.
They want to cash out, you know, they want as much as they can get so they can go blow the money, right?
Yeah.
And so I just closed one, 700,000. They wanted 900, and they would have got it if they had put it on the market when I told them to. Okay. But they wanted to do it when they wanted. That's what people do. And so they took 700, and the money we closed, it'll probably hold out. It won't hold out for 18 months. You know, so that's probate. That's just that's the harsh reality. That's what it is. Pre-NODs.
Yeah.
Okay. Pre-NODs, not NODs.
You talked about this. I just want to kind of give everybody some context, because,
Yeah.
you know, like I had mentioned, you know, had you on pre-March of 2020.
Yeah.
And like nobody was even thinking this. And there was the number one niche that you said, and you gave a statistic, I think out of Tampa, where it was up X%. Like people would they wouldn't even have realized that. And then you know, you and I, after, you know, had you back on, you'd said the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And
What was good about that time, though, is that the banks were able to shore up and keep the house of cards propped up.
right.
But the banks now, man, they're even going out. So the banks are like, look, you're on your own. You know,
Yeah.
I'm coming. I want that house. You know, but truthfully, because there's a lot of propping up that happens in the American economy. Because I mean, we're on a fiat system, so the American economy. I mean, anyway, you can go either way with that. But the American economy is already. I mean, we're in a bankrupt. We have a bankrupt government, right? So, and I'm not talking. It's the greatest country in the world. I love America. You know. Just no country is perfect, and economically we're not. Right. And so the government was able to keep things propped up long enough to where you know, you couldn't foreclose on people, but there was still a lot of people not making their mortgage payments. And so a lot of that's going to start coming to head as the economy, as things happen, you know, as the economy of the future. So yeah, pre-NODs is going to be a big.
I'm with you. You know, during you know, prior to March of 20, notice of defaults in the DFW Metroplex at any given time was in the 3,000 range.
Yeah.
After that time, it was less than 100. And so it's like you, I mean, like, do you just think they went away? No. I mean, they're there.
People paid it up. No. And that's notice of default. So pre-NOD is actually when someone misses a mortgage payment. That's a pre-NOD. So that's a little bit different conversation than when it hits tax record. When like an NOD is when it actually hits public record, like, and everybody knows about it. A pre-NOD just means that on their credit report, one payment was missed, and like literally like nobody's supposed to know about that. And so there's a certain way you're supposed to approach those people that's very to where they won't hang up on you. You know, and
to Knolly, there's to the pre-NOD, just to kind of give some context for everybody listening in, there's certain, based upon statistics, there's certain indicators that statistically a high statistic that people are going to be trying to move their property, like lates on credit card payments. There's just little nuances out there that get triggered. So pre-NOD, I love that. So
Chase had done a study. Yeah, Chase had done a study, just to your point, years ago, and they said that 50% of people that missed one mortgage payment ended up in foreclosure, like half. So so missing one mortgage payment is a big trigger toward, you know, half of those people are going to end up in foreclosure. So that's a big list of people. What were you saying, John, after that?
So NODs would be one. Was that one of your 8s as well?
NODs I don't like as much as pre-NODs. Because there's a big difference. When it's an NOD, everybody knows about it. Everybody's calling them. Everybody's sending them
blood in the water. Yep.
Yeah, it's blood in the water. And then there's of course the old expires. I love right now that the SOI, man, is just a classic, bro. And right now everyone should be calling their SOI with an apology. That, hey, you know, the market was like it was, things got really busy. I'm so sorry that I didn't stay in touch with you. I know I should have been contacting you, but I didn't. And I just saw on Facebook that, you know, Susie just graduated and you guys got a new puppy. And I said, you know what? I haven't called Rhonda in so long. How have you been doing? That's it. That's the conversation. Yeah. How are you? I just want to catch up. How's everything going? And then you catch up with them. They're going to say, well, how are you doing? And you're going to say, I'm doing real good. But you know what, Rhonda, I've got a big problem right now. In fact, you might be able to help me. One of the reasons I called, actually. They're going to say, what's your big problem? You're going to say, my big problem is inventory. I don't have enough, you know, and I need to help 3 families. I got 3 families that I need to help before the end of the month. Before the end of the month, I got to help these families. Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell right now? Okay. It's always going to turn back around. And that's how you, you know, you just let them know. People love to help you solve your problem. Okay. And so, and if you don't have 3 families that need, just call around to 10 agents in your office, or, you know,
they have families they need to help.
They got people that need them. Yeah. So, yeah. So, and there's others, you know, I was on the, I don't know if you knew this, man, I was awarded, what do they call it? Instructor of the Year for EXP University.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. They picked 3 of us. It was me, Ricky, and Julie. What's Julie? And anyway, the 3 of us got awarded out of 450 instructors. So I was very happy with that. And there's the reason I brought it up is because there's a video that I did for EXP University. That's the #1. I don't know if you saw that. It's the fastest growing on our YouTube channel, on our EXP YouTube channel. So if you want to learn more about this, I spend like 30 minutes, you know, where I talk about the 8 different niches that you should be kind of taking a look at. And don't do them all. Just pick one of them, one or 2.
Right. Yeah. That really ties to like what we talked about earlier, that your superpower, right?
Absolutely.
Really ties into your superpower.
Absolutely. So, it has to.
So, Knolly, as we're kind of coming to, you know, the top of the hour, what do agents now, okay, get it, I'm committed, what is my action, right? Because that's ultimately, that's courage, right? Courage is taking action. Where do I take action?
So the first thing you got to do is study the game, the GAME. A lot of people want to get in the game without studying the game first. I want to get, come on. That's not, you don't lose all your money now. You know, you want to hit the craps table without learning. Well, you're going to learn the rules on the go, on the fly. Right. No. So you got to learn the game. And I wrote a book. People would ask me all the time, man, how'd you sell 1,000 houses your first 10 years? We want to pick your brain. Well, guess what? I picked it. It took 450 pages. That's the game right there. It's called Success with Listings. The book is called Success with Listings. Now, if you can't afford it, it's $20 on Amazon. But if you're like, man, I don't have any money, we'll share it with the Honey Badger Nation. I have no problem. I have a PDF of it. And I can share it with you guys for free. Just, you know, just reach out to us, and I'll get the PDF over to John, and we'll make sure every Honey Badger has that book, because that's the game. I got to tell you, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I didn't leave anything back on that book. And that's like, it's a textbook. So study the game, not just that one, but there's other, drink from many fountains. There's other great books on how to do the listing game. I say read as many as you can, and then jump in the game, okay, with both feet, and do what we tell you to do. What the problem with a lot of our students, John, is they think too much, bro. You know, we at Honey Badgers, man, you don't have to think. we have the playbook. You just got to run the play. Right. Well, let me think about this, coach. Boom, you got knocked sideways. You're thinking, you know, just here's the play, run it. Run it. Stop thinking. Now, normally as coaches, we don't tell people to not think, but in this case, your thinking is what's getting you in trouble, because you're trying to be creative with what, like, this is the play. Now put it in your own words, wrap it in your own skin, make it you, but run the play. Okay. Yeah.
I love that. That just made me think of Saban, right? We don't run the play until we get it right. We run the play until we don't get it wrong.
Ooh, I like that a lot. That's good.
Run the play. I love that.
That's good. Really do. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
So, you know, Knolly, I mean, it really is. I mean,
and we always get sideways when we talk, bro. We talk about all kinds. What we need to do, we need to just sit down and just talk. Like we and a lot of times, John, we want to keep it very euphoric, very cerebral. See, this is what people don't understand. And you can, the research is in, bro. It's new research now that 95% of the activities that we do every day are autonomic. Let me say it again. 95% of the things that you're going to do today, you have no, like, you have zero input. There's only 5% of the things that you do that are conscious. 95% comes from your subconscious. So if you can actually reprogram yourself and just start doing the things that, you know, that John teaches, that I teach, that we've been bringing you, then you actually can make success autonomic. You can actually make it automatic.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I didn't have to think about that breath. Even the words coming out of my mouth right now, I'm not really necessarily thinking about them. I'm just talking, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we do when we get together, right? Well, let me think.
Great conversation.
We just talk. Yeah. And so when your game becomes that way, that's when the magic happens. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. I love it. You know, this was jam-packed and I knew it was going to be every time that we get together. It's just, and
I'm traveling right now. You know, I'm in Texas today. You know, I live in Puerto Rico now. Yeah. So I'm at Will Gilliam's, one of my buddies' office. So let me show you what he's got going on here.
I love it.
This dude is still doing brick and mortar, but look, y'all know about brick and mortar. That's what you see nowadays. It's nice. It's pretty. It's pretty, but it's
empty. Ain't nobody there.
Ain't nobody here, bro. We cloud-based. Cloud. Save your money.
I love it, Knolly. You're incredible. I appreciate you. You stand for everything what this whole Expert Mentor series is all about. For those of you guys listening in, Knolly, what's the best way to get plugged in and connected with you?
Yeah, I highly recommend. This is a shameless plug. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I got so much free content on there that I'm giving you because I want you to succeed. That's Knolly.tv. Okay, Knolly.tv. The other thing I would say, get my new book. Okay, go to 3 hours a day. You got to have it. Okay, if you want to have the lifestyle that I live, it just, you know, work 3 hours a day. I have multiple six-figure businesses. I break it down. That book is not out yet, but you can pre-order. You get a bunch of free bonuses. 3 hours a day, the number 3hoursaday.com. And lastly, if you can't remember any of these half a dozen URLs that I've thrown out, just go to Knolly.com, KNOLLY.com. That's where all things Knolly lives. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
And I appreciate you, John. I love the giving nature of Honey Badgers, bro.
That's it.
You give it all away.
Who we are, hardwired at our core. So appreciate you guys listening in. Get plugged into Knolly. Subscribe to that YouTube channel, and then if you want the PDF of Success with Listings, just shoot me a message and just send Success with Listings, and we'll get it over to you.
Yeah. Hey, they might blow you up, but hey, I quote you in the book, bro. I quote you in the book.
Really?
Yeah. So it's gonna be nice. It's nice. It's nice. It's really nice.
I'm definitely getting a copy. I saw it. It is on my reading list for sure.
Absolutely. Love you, brother.
Awesome, man. Love you. Appreciate you, guys.
All right.
We'll catch you guys next time. See you.